to live in. And I'm sure he will bring in the coal industry, that level of concern and commitment to improve the climate, which I think is necessary for all of you, for the next generation. After all, I believe that people of my generation have a duty towards all of you. Mahatma Gandhi had said that we are trustees of the planet. And it's our duty to leave behind a better place to live in for the next generation. That's all of you. And I'm delighted to have this role in the government of India. I'm delighted that Honorable Prime Minister Mr. Modi is committed towards renewable energy. I don't know if you are aware, when Vice President Al Gore had come out with the inconvenient truth many years ago, Prime Minister Modi then was the Chief Minister of Gujarat. He said, well, the truth is known, the truth was always known, the truth in fact is even inscribed in our scriptures in India. But what the world needs today is convenient action. So he juxtaposed the inconvenient truth that the Vice President of America brought before the world with his own story of convenient action. And I think this government for the last 2.5 years has been committed towards that action. We've created an actionable agenda so that by 2022, India would probably be one of the world's fastest growing renewable energy country, one of the largest installations of renewable energy in the world, if not the largest. And I'm delighted to share.
मंत्री तथा सूचना एवं प्रसारण मंत्री श्री वेंकैया नायडू, माननीय मुख्यमंत्री महाराष्ट्र श्री देवेंद्र फडणवीस, माननीय केंद्रीय सड़क परिवहन एवं राजमार्ग एवं जहाज रानी मंत्री श्री नितिन गडकरी.
5 megawatt as renewable energy, but in most parts of the world, all of hydropower is considered renewable, and I'm sure all of you will agree that hydropower doesn't drain any of the nation's resources. After all, the water, of course, there have been political leaders who in their naivety have tried to say that when Bhakra Nangal Dam generates electricity out of the water that is flown on the Nangal or Bhakra rivers, that water loses its potency or loses its ability to serve the people. I don't know if any of you have heard that. There's a very famous Chief Minister of Haryana who had marketed to the people, and I come from Haryana, who had marketed this in his state that ये क्या है, ये कैसा पानी हमारे को पंजाब से आता है, उसमें से बिजली तो निकल गई, फिर वो पानी किस लायक. But I think we would all agree that hydropower is very important for the nation's energy security also. And if we categorize that also as renewable energy, India will have about 2,25,000 megawatts of renewable energy by 2022. The world's largest installation of that. I remember when I became minister in 2014, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of you have voted for us in that election, given the enthusiasm that we got from all the youngsters in the country. The solar power base in India was only 2,400 megawatts, 2.4 gigawatts. The country's ambition was that by 2022, we'll ramp it up to 20,000 megawatts. That was a part of the National Solar Mission, NSM. When Prime Minister Modi first articulated the thought that this will not satisfy India's commitment towards green energy and a more responsible government towards environment. And certainly it will not help India's energy security, because renewable energy, my young friends, has a great deal of impact on the energy security of the nation. After all, our dependence on oil, our dependence on uranium for nuclear power, all of this involves our dependence with foreign countries. But renewable energy is based on our dependence on the sun, on the wind, on water, on the waste that is generated, the biomass, and all of these things are indigenous raw materials. It also helps us become more and more energy secure as a nation. And therefore he said it will be important that we scale up our national solar mission. And can we not look at an ambitious plan to grow this 2,400 megawatt instead of only up to 20,000 megawatt. Let's plan for 1 lakh megawatt. And that's what this government has planned to do. That is what we are committed to. In fact, I'm happy to share with you that so far, in the 2.5 years that we have been in government, we have expanded the solar installed capacity by 200%. So now it's 3 times what it was when I became a minister. It's over 9,000 megawatt already. And by the end of 2017, December 2017, I expect it to be about 20,000 megawatt. What was earlier planned to be in 2022, we'll achieve by 2017 itself. 5 years ahead of schedule. Similarly, on wind, we have aggressive plans to take it up to 60,000 megawatt, nuclear, small biomass, small hydro projects. We have started reviving a lot of these stalled and stranded hydro projects. As concerned citizens of India, I'll share with you an experience I had about the hydro sector soon after I became a minister, and it will shock you. There was a project in Sikkim, and you all know Sikkim has a lot of important geostrategic importance. It's right at the border, and you know the troubles India has gone through protecting the integrity of Sikkim with the nation. We've had so much dispute and so many problems about Arunachal Pradesh, about Sikkim, but we are a proud nation where Sikkim is an integral part of India. But there was this project in Sikkim which, ladies and gentlemen, was 90% complete, over 90% complete. It's a 1200 megawatt hydro project. Over 9,000 crore rupees was invested in that project. And it was lying incomplete because the state government, the investors, foreign investors, Indian investors, bankers, engineers, everybody were fighting with it. And the project was stalled. Now, to my mind, and I hope I'm able to convey to you what my concern was, unless all these stalled projects get restarted, obviously no sensible man will invest more money in the hydro sector. Suppose any 2 or 3, and there are many examples like this. There's a Subansiri project in Arunachal Pradesh, which is stalled for now 6 or 7 years. I'm in dialogue with the new government of Assam and the new government of Arunachal, both of which, by the grace of God and the support of the people of India, are now run by the Bharatiya Janata Party, and both have agreed that we'll have to restart that stalled project so that the people of Arunachal, the people of Assam, and all the people of Northeast can get 24/7 power rather than struggling for power. But that project, and that project in Sikkim, 90% complete. When I got all the stakeholders on the table, it was a nightmare to try and understand what were all their difference of opinions. But I'm happy to share with you, over 2 or 3 meetings, and the third one, you may not like it, and I hope the press doesn't report it in a wrong way. I actually locked them all up in my room. And I said, nobody goes out from this place till we have sorted out this problem, till we have all agreed on a way forward and we can restart this project. And I'm delighted to share with you the work on that project started about a year ago, and by in about 3 or 4 months from now, that project will start generating electricity to serve the people of Sikkim and all of Northeast. I hope I have similar success in the Subansiri project, which is also a huge project. I believe it's about 2,000 megawatts or so. And once these 3 or 4 stalled projects get started, the hydro sector in India can once again get a boost. And overall, I believe renewable energy will become an integral part of India's future so that we can demonstrate to ourselves. We don't have to worry about the world. First, we must worry about ourselves. We can demonstrate to ourselves that we as a nation are committed to the path of clean energy. We as a nation want to have a better environment. We as a nation want to fight this problem of pollution. And energy, renewable energy is one aspect of it. There are many other aspects. For example, you're all aware Delhi goes through serious pollution issues in October, November every winter. Now that is largely because of the rice husk burning in Punjab, Haryana and all the northern states. We've been trying to find a solution. Actually, we should throw open a contest for all of you IIT and other students to give us some solution. We have this problem. There's about 30 million tons of rice husk which has to be processed or disposed of in a short span of 15 to 20 days. Now it's not something we can store, because you can imagine probably all of IIT Mumbai will be small to store that level of rice husk and to transport it from the different farms all over Punjab, Haryana and all those regions, western Uttar Pradesh. But we need to find a solution to process this millions of tons of rice husk. Otherwise, the poor farmers have no choice but to burn it. And when they burn that, and in that season the wind flows southward in a north-south or southeastern direction, it lands up polluting the entire belt, particularly the national capital, New Delhi. Now it's a problem that we are grappling with. It's a problem the nation is grappling. While we are trying in our own way to find solutions, why don't I throw this challenge to all of you young budding engineers and budding scientists to come up with a solution for this. And sometime middle of February or early March, I'll have this competition in Gurgaon. We have a National Institute of Solar Energy where we'll invite innovations from all over the country. And I would hope that some of you will also participate in that, and your other colleagues from different IITs, different science and technology colleges from across the country, where I want all sorts of innovations to be displayed, to get a chance to present their thoughts and their ideas before different juries. And I'll draw the juries from amongst IIT professors, engineering college professors, or scientists from all across India. And we'll allow any and everybody. And in my own work, my experience is that a lot of innovation comes out of the villages of India. Some bright young boys and girls, I don't know, you saw that movie, which was that movie where Amir Khan, not Dangal to dekhi bhi nahi abhi kisi ne. Have you seen it already? Swadesh, you remember? Shah Rukh Khan, okay, sorry, I get mixed up, too many Khans around. I think. But each is better than the other, so it's quite obvious we'll all get, and maybe I'm becoming old also, right? Though I don't feel old when I come to IIT, it rejuvenates me actually. But yeah, Shah Rukh Khan comes out with that innovation, and how he, as energy minister, really it excites me to see how that innovation could help that village get electricity, right? So a NASA engineer, and I'm sure you've all heard that it's Ghisa-Peta dialogue, that all our engineers do so much better when they go to NASA because they don't get opportunities in India. I think now it's time that we engineers, we youngsters, look at Indian options, look at working in India. The world is changing, India is changing, India is evolving. And you get some of the finest education in the IITs and other engineering colleges. You are the future. And your ideas, your thoughts, your efforts can actually transform India. So I would hope and urge that some of you choose to stay in India, choose to innovate in India, choose to serve the nation. Some study, I don't know how far it's true or false, was there that about 70-80%, if not more, of the students from IITs all go abroad. And maybe they do very well abroad. I appreciate that. I grant that. But end of the day, this nation also wants your talents. This nation, I wouldn't be able to do 225,000 megawatts of renewable energy unless I had the support of all of you in this room. Unless all of you were there to bring in technology, bring in better ideas to implement all of these big plans. So really it's the time to change the destiny of India. It's a time to transform our nation, our beloved country. It's a chance of a lifetime to change the way this country works, change the mindset of our people. For example, we are trying to move towards a more digital economy. I do hope all of these 100,000 children who participate in Mood Indigo, and much as some of the television channels may like to keep harping on where do the people in the villages understand technology, how will we teach them digitalization and stuff like that. My own understanding is that this people, the people of India, have the ability to learn fast, have the ability to adopt to technologies very fast, and this 50-55% youth of India, after all, we go around all over the world and say we have a young population, we are going to get the dividend of the demographic dividend, the dividend of youth, of being a youthful nation. How will we ever get that dividend if we don't even go digital until we take technology to the last man on the bottom of the pyramid? And I think that's where I appeal to all of you. Participate in this movement to try and go digital. Teach as many people as you can how simple it is to use a digital wallet. How simple it will be if they would use their RuPay card or their debit card instead of just walking up to an ATM to draw cash, but to actually spend whatever they need to spend using that debit card instead of drawing cash and then spending cash. So that the world and the country in India, all trade, all business, move towards the formal economy, move towards paying their taxes honestly. Because an honest nation can move mountains. If all of India starts working honestly, we can actually change the destiny of our people. So I do hope all of you youngsters will participate in the changing India, and you will become the change agents, so that renewable energy on the one hand cleans the environment, leaves behind a better planet to live in, and changing habits and changing way of doing business, changing way of lifestyles or running our life, our homes in India, can leave behind a cleaner economy, a more honest economy, a better country to live in. I'm sure it cannot happen only with the government's efforts. It needs the support of all of you. So let's work together. Let's work with a mission to make India a superpower. Let's work together to make India a great place to live in. It is a great place, but let's say make it the best place in the world. The Sone Ki Chidiya that we've all been hearing about. Thank you.
Due to the overwhelming response of the audience, I think it's best that we start the Q&A session with our Honorable Minister.
Yeah, that's a good point. Very, very good question that my young friend has raised. Clearly, if everybody starts paying their taxes honestly, then the revenue collection goes up and the tax rates can fall. Sadly, in India, when the money moves from an official economy to an unofficial economy, is a blurred situation. Now, let me give you an example. There are so many people who pay their taxes honestly and they have very hard-earned money in their bank. When they need to get an admission for their child in a medical college or in an engineering college, and they have to pay capitation fee, then very often they have to remove money from their bank account or take a loan from a bank and pay that capitation fee. Now, should that situation not end? Are we not as a nation committed or desirous that we have to change that? Similarly, you talked about service tax or excise duties or VAT. Ultimately, if a large part of the economy is going to remain informal and not pay their taxes honestly, then the burden keeps increasing on the honest taxpayers. And gradually, the honest also are forced towards dishonesty. The effort we are trying to do, my young friends, is to see if we can move the entire nation towards the formal economy, and digitalization helps that everybody's transactions get recorded. So, you'll be surprised. I'll give you a statistic which will amaze you. Could any of you have imagined that two-wheelers, motorcycles and scooters and scooties or whatever, sales have fallen by about 50% in the last 1.5 months. And what's the reason for that? Because more than 50% of the two-wheelers used to be sold in cash. Can you believe that? Now, for one, I was aghast when I first came to know. I never imagined that even vehicles are bought in cash. Worst case, cycle कोई cash में खरीदे या number 2 या informal economy में खरीदे 1-2 हजार पता नहीं कितने की आती है साइकिल, फिर भी मैं समझ सकता हूँ. पर 40,000 रुपए की two-wheeler, if it is going to be sold in cash and taxes are not going to be recovered end of the day as that vehicle gets used, is an unfortunate situation. So very often the white and the black economy in India are almost dovetailing into each other seamlessly. And money flows from white to black and then again to white and black with no trail or no control. Tomorrow, if this two-wheeler was to do a crime, we would never know who the hell owns it. Because it has been bought in cash and I don't know where it's registered, not registered, in a false name, real name. So the effort is overall that we move the entire economy into the official economy, and I assure you that that's the only way we can bring down taxes. And I do hope to be able to give these better news as more and more of the economy becomes formal. Why don't you introduce yourself also? Give me a chance.
My name is Shashank Mishra, sir, and I am second year MTech student here. Sir, actually, we were discussing about demonetization for past 1.5 months, sir. And one of my friends asked me this question, sir. What is the rationale behind introducing first 2,000 rupee notes more than the 500 rupees? Because
Sure.
to get the change of 2,000 rupee note is because to get the 2,000 rupee note change is becoming much more difficult than getting the 500.
Absolutely, a very good question. And I think a lot of comments have been made on this issue in different fora, but good that you've given me a chance to clarify. 2 or 3 things that are intertwined in this question. First of all, you will all appreciate that it was very important to keep it secret. If this thing had come out beforehand, you know how already with the ingenuity of Indian people is so much that they've used all sorts of tricks in the trade to try and convert their black money to black. Some people even criticize us for the number of changes and number of notifications. पर हम भी क्या करें? ये ऐसा सिचुएशन था, हम एक चीज प्लग करते थे तो डिवियस माइंड कुछ और एक रास्ता निकालता था. मतलब यहाँ तक कि हमने एक्सचेंज जो शुरू में अलाउ किया था, and we would have allowed it all through, but then we found that companies were giving all their employees money every day कि आप जाओ लाइनों में खड़े हो, पैसा एक्सचेंज करके ये 10% रखो, बाकी आके हमें. So we were all the time trying to keep up with the devious minds that were operating in the system. But having said that, it was very important to keep it secret. And therefore, if we had printed a lot of 500 rupee notes before this move was announced, forget from the common man, forget even from ministers like me, it would have been impossible to keep it secret from the press. They would have put 2 and 2 together. You know how sharp the Indian media is. अर्नब गोस्वामी तो पहले पकड़ लेता है. But why the 2,000 rupee note? Now, broadly, if you see, about 11 lakh odd crore rupees was removed from the system overnight, right? And that shock therapy was required. Otherwise, all the more reason we would not have been able to really catch the culprits. Now, at least we'll have a trail and we'll be able to know who had that money and what they did with it. Because they had to put it in the bank, they had no other choice. After the announcement to replace that large amount of currency, 1,500 rupee notes are about 15.35 lakh crores at that point of time in the system. Out of that, some 3 lakh odd crores was already in the banking system. So 11 odd lakh crores was withdrawn. Now to replace 11 lakh crores, and here we have, you are a maths student? Great, so you can do the math very quickly, maybe much faster than some of us other people here. But you calculate how many notes will be required, how many billions of notes will be required of 500 rupees and how many of 2,000. And many people say, why not more 100 and how many of 100? So of late you've heard some senior opposition politicians, a former prime minister, a former finance minister trying to say it will take 7 years to replace this currency. Somebody said it will take 2 years. I don't know what all figures have been said. Yes, if we had used 100 rupee notes, probably it would have taken 7 years to replace this much currency. If we had only done 500 rupee notes or 500 and 100 mix, probably 2 years or 2.5 years. It's because of that in fact RBI had suggested you do 5,000 and 10,000 rupee notes. It was Prime Minister Modi who said no, that was too big and that will become another source of corruption or using that note to hide corruption money. So then calculating that how much time will we have so that we can replace the money in everybody's pockets quickly, our focus was first on 2,000 rupee notes. Because it was 2,000 rupee notes, today we have a near normal situation. I won't say that it's normal. A lot of people are still having problems. There are still a lot of ATMs which don't get replenished fast enough because really we don't have the infrastructure to replenish 200,000 ATMs every day. Earlier, in the good old times when everything was business as usual, the ATMs of about 25,000 in number were being replenished every day. Now we could not first recalibrate those ATMs or add the infrastructure in advance because again it had to be kept secret. All of these things would have given out the game. So now those ATMs are only able to do 25,000 a day, the replenishment. In the good old days, once they replenished an ATM, it would last for 7, 8, 9 days. Today it doesn't last for too many hours also. Still, we in government are working with the ATM logistics companies, with Reserve Bank and the banks to see if in the next 15 days we can ramp up and get more and more of the ATMs back into operation so that the pressure goes off the branches and money will be available on the ATMs. But I'm glad that now even 500 rupee notes got started printed about. And yeah, in RBI printing presses, it takes 21 days before you can change over from one currency to another. So the 2000 had to run through its whole run. That's again a technical issue which some of you may be able to understand better than me. I'm only a simple chartered accountant. But the technical people will understand the difficulties to change the molds or the stamping units or whatever is the printing infrastructure, the paper, size of the paper, the roll of the paper and all of that. But now large quantities of 500 are being printed. Hundreds are there in abundant numbers in the country. The 150 rupee notes are actually in such large measure already there in the economy and have been further given after the demonetization 8th November that frankly even using only 100 rupee notes we can easily run our whole purchasing economy. As long as people also move towards digital and other transactions. But then probably because that psychosis, fear psychosis that notes are less, there's a tendency to hoard the currency. So a lot of people are, maybe all of us have also become hoarders, me included. Everybody wants a little security, so we keep a little money in the pocket. I remember today I went to the temple, so thodi jeb mein se paisa nikla. Otherwise I use my card everywhere. And I won't be surprised if in a few days even temples will be able to use our card. Can I take 4, 5, 7 questions and then respond together? That will make it faster. I'll take notes, so don't worry. I'll try to meet everybody's questions. This young man was asking. Go ahead.
Sir, I'm Utsav Rao and I'm master student. Sir, we have augmented our electric generation capacity, but if we look after our plant load factor, in 2013 it was a 66% around, and in 2016 right now it's around 62%. Means it has decreased. Where still we have a demand in which we have not fulfilled our demand. So why this has happened and what are steps ahead to fulfill this thing?
I'll take a few more questions so I can answer all together.
Sir, I have 2 questions.
What's your name?
Yash. Sir, the first question is, after demonetization, it's been told that we can use cashless economy everywhere.
Less cash.
Yeah, less cash. Yes.
Actually, cashless is also not a bad word. It's a goal that you aspire for. What is infinity? It's a goal you aspire for. Totally corruption-free environment. It's a goal you aspire for. Now, 125 crore people, you can't change 125 crore people. But you can aspire towards that. Sorry.
Sir, 2 days back, when I was moving from Pune, even the railway station was not accepting card or any other wallets. So I think so we should start first from the places, the government places which people use daily.
Correct.
Because the railway stations have the largest number of transactions in a day.
Which
And,
railway station? Pune?
Yeah, Pune.
Main?
Yeah, Pune
That's
means
shocking. Good feedback for me. Thank you. No, it's very important. Ultimately, how will we get to know? You know, yesterday, Subhash Chandraji, who's the owner of ZTV, sent me a tweet about gold mines. It was great feedback. I was able to get a report, understand what can be done. So, your feedback is very, very important. And I'm delighted to be amongst you so that I can learn something. But it's a good idea. We'll start from the government office.
So the second question is, in the before 2 weeks, I have visited 2 villages, and the problem in the villages was one main thing, that the connectivity of internet is very less or is not there. So the people are not able to use wallets. And the second thing about the UPI system, the *99# thing.
USSD.
Yeah, USSD. Most of the time the server is down, or they are not able to access that thing.
Good point. Lovely. Thank you, Yash. Really grateful to you for that feedback. And something which we all need to address quickly in government. Thank you.
Sir,
Ma'am? Sorry?
I'm a master's student. Sir, you have mentioned about generation, like the various projects on generation of energy. But what movements are taken for if the energy is wasted in wide amounts, like there are street lights during the daytime, they are like it is turned on. So where do we adjust those things where there is wastage of energy? What movements are taken?
Very good point. One thing is certain, all the youngsters who are in graduate school here are all having fun at the music festival, and all of the older students seem to be interested in this drab subject of renewable energy. All masters and PhDs over here, but thank you, I feel really delighted. Tell me, Sandeep. Yeah.
For example, I mean, in IIT, we have post office, but we do not have like POI service or anything. In Mumbai, we have less sufficient buses, but we do not have service over there. I don't go there outside, but
No, but very good point.
they give the people.
I agree with you. Very good.
And one which is not from Maharashtra, but from other states, is that there is like money in the ATM, but people are coming with 10 ATM cards. Okay, they are deploying maximum possible, and because of that, other people are like having fraud.
Got it. Good point.
Hi sir. Sir, my name is Ibrahim. I'm from School of Management, IIT Bombay. So sometime back we had heard the news that we're trying to remove all diesel and petroleum powered cars from Indian roads, and that's by 2030. So what steps are being taken on that front?
Great. Thanks for a lovely question. What's your name? Amit. अमिताभ तो नहीं है ना?
All black money is not come from the system, because main black money is hidden in real estate and gold. What is policy for that from government?
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. So, here.
Yeah.
I'm Pratyat. I'm a
Sorry?
I'm Pratyarth. or third-
Pratya.
Pratyarth.
Pratyarth, wow. Yeah.
I'm a third year BTech student. So, first of all, I just wanted to make two statements that all cash isn't black money necessarily, and all black money is not in cash. So, giving these two statements, it's a bit unclear to me what the actual aim of demonetization was. Because first, we were sold the rhetoric that it is to remove black money from the market. But about 8 to 10% of the black money is only in cash, and the most is in other goods like bullion, real estate, and stuff like that. And then we move towards the narrative that it's to create, it's to move towards the ideal situation of a cashless economy to say.
Sure.
So, but do we actually have the infrastructure to do such a thing? Weren't there like any other measures which we could have implemented first before removing 17 lakh crore from the economy?
11 lakhs.
Okay.
Not 17 lakhs.
Hello sir, I am Ram Thakkar. I am a BE second year student from Indore. Sir, recently I have been seeing a notice on IRCTC website promoting cashless economy. So last month when I was booking tickets for Mood Indigo, we were a group of 14. So there were total 28 tickets. Now the convenience charge on each ticket was around 50 rupees when we were doing online transactions. So in total that would have cost us 1400 rupees. So why would a common man want to pay that much more amount when he can do?
Is it 50 rupees? There seems to be a mistake in that one.
Near about
I think
50.
IRCTC, that railway booking, it's an independent company. It doesn't. It's not directly the railways. And to the best of my knowledge, it's a very, very small transaction.
No, sir, it was actually third AC tickets. So
I'll check this out also.
convenience
Good
charge is
feedback.
almost 50 rupees near about.
I'll check this out.
Very good evening, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, actually the center of gravity was shifted towards demonetization. So actually I wanted to ask that while searching for a design competition, we participated in a design competition. We searched about the rice husk problem.
Right.
So the main problem in that was the collection issue. Means during harvesting, the rice husk was spread all over the field. So the problem was the farmers were the ratio of effort to the produced thing was more in collection. So they didn't collect the rice husk, they burn it simply. So what measures should we take in collection of rice husk? Means to eradicate that problem.
What's your name?
Vanishit.
Vanshit.
From Nirma University, sir.
Lovely.
So, sir, to eradicate that problem, we basically need to see the collection issue. Means we basically need to see how we can collect it easily to give them more money on that yield thing.
Correct.
So, sir, any ideas about that?
Can I respond now? What's your name? Madhav.
That was the last question.
Sorry? Sohan? Correct. Good point. Lovely point. Lovely way to end the Q&A.
I think
Some brilliant questions and some very good suggestions. Thank you very much, my young friends. Utsav, you raised a point. Power demand and consumption both have gone up in the last 2 years. The figures you said are absolutely right. PLF has come down from 66 to 62 in the last 3 years. But that's because there were so many plants which were at different stages of implementation but were stressed or stalled. So you'll be happy to know in the first 2 years of this government, we added about 45,000 megawatts of thermal generating capacity. 45,000 megawatts. It's not as if I started those plants in 2 years and got them done. Obviously, they started some 5 years, some 10 years ago. But unfortunately, in the past, everything used to get stuck. Some are stuck for environment clearance, some are stuck for finance, some are stuck for land issues. So when we came into power, we actually focused our energies to get them all started again. And when you add a lot of capacity, the total thermal capacity before I became minister has gone up by about 27% in 2.5 years. Now when you add that level of capacity, then even with the demand going up, obviously the plant load factor will come down. So if 100 becomes 127, let's say, and demand goes up from 100 to 118 in 3 years, then obviously that gap means the whole system's plant load factor will fall. So I hope I made sense to you, Utsav. But otherwise, it's not that there is no, the demand isn't going up. There is even more potential demand, which we are trying to improve through last mile connectivity. You know that the Prime Minister has given me the responsibility to take power to every village by 1st May 2018 and every home by 15th August 2022. I am trying in my own small way to see if I can take power to every village by middle of next year itself, about a year ahead of schedule. And my effort is that I take power to the 5 crore homes who don't have power 70 years after independence by 2019, 3 years ahead of the Prime Minister's target. And 11 years before the Sustainable Development Goal target. The United Nations has kept a target of 2030 in the SDGs. We are trying to do it 10 or 11 years before the United Nations target also. Yes, your points are very well taken in the right spirit. Pune railway station must be having it. I'm in fact quite amazed to hear this, but Sureshji was with me in the earlier program. I'll positively flag it off with them, and we'll make sure that we quickly roll out different payment options at all the railway stations. We have about 8,800 railway stations. We'll ensure that it gets there. You also raised a very valid point about connectivity of internet and servers being down. Now, frankly, till 2 months back, the effort towards digitalization was going on at its own very slow pace. Now we are finding an opportunity. It's not as if we have changed the goalpost, as somebody mentioned. It's just that we are finding an opportunity to rapidly go digital and rapidly move towards a cashless society. So why not catch that opportunity? And I don't know, you're all aware that जब मजबूरी होती है, तो चीज स्वीकार भी ज़्यादा आसानी से होती है. So now that there is a little tightness on low currency values, 100, 500, more and more people are using. I got my mobile wallet for the first time only during this period. So I downloaded SBI Buddy and things like that only now. So gradually this movement will pick up. It will start from the cities, obviously, and my suspicion is that the 400-500 top cities of this country would probably account for 60-70% of all the transactions in terms of value. So even if all the cities were to move gradually towards less cash, it can have a huge impact on India's future. And this will also put pressure on the telecom companies. In fact, I'm in dialogue with the telecom companies also. They have confirmed that now spectrum is no more an issue. After 2 rounds of auction of spectrum that this government did, now they all have sufficient spectrum. They don't need any more. Now they have to invest in upgrading the infrastructure of telecom companies so that connectivity improves. But we are continuously monitoring it. Wherever required through the Universal Services Obligation Fund, there's a USO fund. We will help to expand the infrastructure in rural India faster. And I assure you that we are very serious about USSD. We are ramping up the server capacities of both UPI and USSD. We are trying to make it simpler to operate. The current systems, we are trying to see how it can be made even simpler. And now some new ideas are working very rapidly on Aadhaar-enabled payment systems, for example, where a person need not have a phone also. He need not have even a credit, debit card, nothing. All he needs to do is remember his Aadhaar number. And gradually in the country, people are getting used to remembering their Aadhaar number. So he just says his Aadhaar number and can, with his thumb impression, identify himself or through iris and can conclude a transaction. So we are moving. Frankly, India will be ahead of the world in technology in the next 2 or 3 or 4 years. In fact, the young man who asked me about Visa or Master and the fact that we should have our own Sohan, delighted at that question, because I would love to see the day that RuPay, we have our own system called RuPay, RUPAH, which another IITian like you, Nandan Nilekani, had developed when he was in the UIDAI. Right? So now we are trying to propagate RuPay, and we are very confident that in the days ahead, RuPay will outsmart and outprice Visa and Master. And I would love to see the day that 125 crore Indians use RuPay. Smitaji, generation of energy is obviously important, but wastage is even more important, because every unit of waste that we can save is equivalent to 1.33 units of generation, with all the transmission, distribution losses, which of course we're trying to bring down. But today nationally it's over 25%. So the simple maths again gives you a 1.33 and input-output ratio in terms of wastage. I don't know if you're aware of my LED program. India today is the world's fastest moving LED market. We have sold, and I can urge you to go onto your mobile phones, maybe download an app that I have. It's called Ujala. If you download Ujala, you will get the current number of bulbs as we speak right now. It's uploading 18 crore 70 lakh 88,265 bulbs LED. And this is one company, government company. Private sector has sold another 25 crore bulbs. And by the way, these bulbs, Government of India used to buy, before I became minister, a 7-watt bulb at 310 rupees. Today, we are buying a 9-watt bulb at 38 rupees. An 88% reduction. And when I complete this LED program by 2019 and make the entire country free of incandescent bulbs and CFLs, when we all will be using only LEDs, and now that it's become so cheap, the payback is 2 months of savings. You will, the consumers, the people of India, all of you and your homes and your offices and your IIT campus will be saving 40,000 crores every year. 40,000 crores every year in your electricity bills. Only one program. So we are very conscious about saving the waste of energy. In fact, the United States Energy Secretary goes around the whole world showing this Ujala app to people, that look how India is scaling up its LED program. And you'll be happy to know, this company ESL used to sell 6 lakh bulbs per year until 2014. Today you want to make a guess how many bulbs it's selling? This ESL, it's a government company, mind you. 6 lakh a year it used to sell in 2014. Any guesses what they're selling now? 40 lakhs or 40,000. It's selling 6 lakh bulbs every day. Every day. तो आप लोग में से कई लोगों ने सरकार को और सरकारी कंपनियों को बहुत गालियां तो दी होंगी. Government is inefficient, government can never be successful. This is a government company. People who get government salaries, people who work under the constraints of the way government has to work. But what did we do? We brought complete honesty into the system. By the way, this 38 rupee bulb is not coming from any small company or anything. It's the world's largest lighting supplier. You know who's the world's largest? Philips. Philips is supplying at 38 rupees a 9-watt bulb. So you can be rest assured that it has the highest quality standards. But zero corruption, high volumes, and we are leveraging on modern technology. So we're very conscious of waste, Sonalji, Smitaji. Sandeep asked me about encouraging solar energy, particularly in the villages, and also about starting government sector putting up the digitalization. Well, in terms of encouraging solar energy, we have a number of programs. But I'd urge you to get onto the website and have a look at it. My own website will have it. The Ministry of New and Renewable Energy website will have it. But I'm happy to share with you. I have a program run in partnership with IIT Mumbai. The professors of IIT Mumbai. I have two projects. One, we have the National Center for Photovoltaic Research, and we're working with the IIT students and professors. I've just recently approved another 45 or 50 crore rupee grant to IIT Mumbai to do research through that center, which is running in your own premises in IIT Mumbai. And I've also, only a couple of days back, approved a program which is largely inspired by IIT Mumbai and its professors and staff. It's called Solar Urja Lamps for the children, for students. And I've just approved 70 lakh solar lamps, which will be made by the villagers, tribal and other women in the villages. The government will put in 180 rupees per lamp. The CSR and other private sectors donors will put in 200, and we'll charge only 10 rupees a month, 120 rupees in a year, one time, for the student to be able to buy that lamp, particularly in rural India and the villages where they still don't get a short 24-hour supply. This will be a great help for the next 2 or 3 years until I'm able to take power to every village and every home 24/7, which is my goal and mission of life. Of course, all post offices need to be enabled with technology, and I'm surprised it's not at IIT. I checked that up also. Ibrahim, I'm working very hard in consultation, cooperation with Ministry of Heavy Industry, Road Transport, Petroleum, Power and Renewable Energy. All of us are working as a team. I've taken a professor from IIT Chennai. I don't know if you've heard of him, Professor Ashok Jhunjhunwala. He's actively working with me on this project. In fact, he's taking a sabbatical from IIT Chennai to lead this initiative, and he's really putting in a lot of effort. Our idea is that we create a fast charging infrastructure nationally, possibly in all the petrol pumps, so that the gas stations or petrol pumps become also charging stations. Then we are trying to create a common protocol so that you can even charge these vehicles at home, and then trying to make the batteries become like a consumable, just like oil or diesel or petrol. So like you put diesel or petrol, you can drive into a petrol station, unhook or unclamp a battery, replace it with another battery and drive out. So that battery becomes your petrol or diesel. And that common protocol is something no other part of the world, no country has done so far. So we are hoping that India plays a leadership role and will be the first large country in the world. That's another dream that I have, that by 2030 we can all run by electricity, all our vehicles. Yeah, there was 2 or 3 friends who talked about the main black money being in real estate and gold. All cash isn't black, Pratyarth said, but all black isn't in cash. I appreciate. But does it mean that we should ignore the money that's in cash? We have to sort out each one of those things. We already have the Benami Transactions Act. We already have the Benami Properties Act. Now we're going to look at ensuring that each of these things we can address. After all, in gold, we've already brought in that any sale above a particular value, 2 lakhs, I think, you have to give a PAN card and do it through a banking transaction or report that transaction. So we are trying that different methods can be curbed. But I'm sure all of you will appreciate that the first generation has to be in cash. To be able to buy a property, to be able to buy gold. Pehla to paisa cash mein convert hoga na. From the system it has to be withdrawn in cash and then invested elsewhere. So unless you go to the root of the problem, there was some management students, Ibrahim is a management student, he'll appreciate a root cause analysis. In fact, aap log bhi to engineering mein karte honge. Root cause analysis is an integral part of physics or scientific discovery. So unless you tackle the root, you're never going to be able to solve the problem in the wider perspective. So this is only one. in a series of steps we've taken in the last 2.5 years, and certainly this is not the last step. That also I can assure you, in our fight against black money. And it's not rhetoric that we move the rhetoric to digital or something. It's a natural corollary. After all, once all this money comes into the banking system and people have to declare what was the source of it, pay taxes on it, it adds to the formal economy, which helps the GDP grow. Now, thoda mindset problem hai. People have still got to adjust to this changing India. But I'm sure we should give them a chance to change. Therefore, we have announced that if anybody joins this formal economy now and his turnover goes up significantly or number of employees goes up, we won't question the past. Because many people in the past were forced to do these type of things because the system had become so corrupted that they couldn't compete without that. Now we want everybody to go legit. So we won't question the past. So suppose I'm a trader. My business turnover last year I reported as 20 lakhs. But I actually did 1 crore. Now also I'm willing to change and start declaring my honest turnover. Start declaring all my employees and pay minimum wages, give them ESIC health benefit, pay provident fund into his account so he has social security. We won't question him about the past. We want to encourage people to go clean. In fact, one of the biggest benefits, nobody talked about it, is the unorganized labor in this country. आप सोचिए जो व्यक्ति खून पसीना बहा के कारखानों में काम करता है, अलग अलग जगह पे casual labor, labor which is not always on the record, many times they are not paid minimum wages. Don't those people deserve to get paid at least minimum wages? Don't their families deserve to get health care, some social security? Ultimately, I see before me a set of youngsters who are probably got a better family background, probably have a better lifestyle, maybe have had a better beginning. But आज भी इस देश में 40 करोड़ ऐसे मजदूरी करने वाले लोग हैं, अलग अलग उम्र के. Some may be as young as 18, 19, 20, some may be as old as 70, 75. Should they not at least get minimum wages so their family, their children, their parents get a decent life, health care, some social security? Isn't that the duty of all of us as a team, as a group of concerned citizens? One of the reasons we are doing all these changes is to move all of this into the formal economy. Should we not all start paying people who work in our factories by check so that transaction can be recorded, can be traced, we can make sure the minimum wages is paid? In fact, some unions have opposed this, that why should we tea gardens in Kerala or coffee plantation, tea gardens in West Bengal or Assam, coffee plantation in Kerala, they are opposing. Some union leaders that no, it should be paid in cash. You know why? Because they are hand in gloves with the management, don't want to pay minimum wages, and then when the actual wages are disbursed, they take the cut. The local strongman takes a cut out of that wages. Once we digitalize and pay through banking channel, hopefully, again then somebody may stand up and say, इससे इसका ये तरीका है बेट करने का सिस्टम. तरीके तो लोग निकालेंगे, फिर हमको और कुछ सोचना पड़ेगा. But let's make an effort, all of us as a nation, to try and clean up the system. Have I answered? The design competition, that's the whole problem, my friend. If I knew the solution, I wouldn't have flagged it off. But we are all also working. We all also think, can we have decentralized processing of that? Can we have truck mounted, some small unit which goes farm to farm and processes that rice husk instead of just collecting, because collecting means storage problem, means large amount of pollution of trucks moving it from one place to the other. So we need a solution which is more sustainable and both economically viable also. I have noted the IRCTC, the railway computerized ticket counter story. I'll flag it off with Sureshji and see what we can do about that. But by the way, other than that, railways booking, which is run by a separate company, we have removed all transaction charges on debit cards, RuPay cards, UPI, USSD, all of that, which is government controlled. Now I can't decide what Paytm is going to charge, or I can't decide what Visa Master will do on their credit cards. So, but on all government installations or government offices across the country, and if any of you comes across any such thing, please tweet to me so that I can address that issue also. Anywhere, in any government body, they are charging. IRCTC was kept as a separate thing because it's a company which is formed and runs out of the revenue it gets to give this service. But other than that, all petrol stations, all electricity bills, we have advised state governments also now to follow and to waive all charges on that. Madhav talked about globalized world. Undoubtedly, in a globalized world, it is important to work in partnership. There's technology that different countries have. After all, LED also. We are importing initially a large numbers. Now we are assembling in India. Next stage we'll start manufacturing in India. But I'll need technology. So we are in a globalized world. But within the globalized world, each country has to protect its own national interests. We are working together with nations, but at no point of time will we compromise with the nation's interests. At no point of time will we compromise with the nation's future, with what is good for us, for the people of India. And I assure each one of you youngsters that the future of India is bright. Bright not only as in I'll make sure everybody gets power 24/7, but it will be a bright future in terms of a roaring economy, a prosperous economy, a country where everybody gets good quality housing, quality education, quality healthcare. But we will need the support and the enthusiasm that all of you have to make that happen. Having said that, I've already messed up your time with the music rock concert there. But thank you very much for a patient listening. It's been great being over here and meeting you. Thank you very much.
Now I would like Mrs. Falguni Banerjee to present a memento to our Honorable Minister.
All right. It's a lovely book on 50 years of IIT Mumbai. Now another 4 years we'll have 50 years of Mood Indigo. So Merry Christmas. It's Christmas Eve tonight. Enjoy yourself. Have fun. Be sober, okay? And Merry Christmas and a wonderful, wonderful New Year to all of you and your families. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.